Welcome to Rise Up with Rise Growth Partners, the podcast created to inspire wealth advisors and elevate firms, one transformative idea at a time. Joe Duran and the Rise team share hard-won lessons from building top wealth management firms, showing you what it takes to create a lighthouse brand that inspires clients, attracts talent, and fuels growth. Together, we'll look at where the industry is headed so you can stay ahead of the curve. We're here to be the coach we wish we had along our journey. Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer Gagan and welcome to the first episode of Rise Up with Rise Growth Partners, where we hope to inspire wealth advisors and elevate firms one idea at a time. I'm thrilled to be joined by Joe Duran, managing partner at Rise Growth Partners, a leader who has an impressive track record of building and transforming businesses in wealth management. Great to have you here, Joe.
Great to be here, Jennifer.
So to start, I thought we would talk about what inspired us to launch the series.
Well, as you know, we're sort of building an unusual kind of firm here. We're really trying to build the kind of firm that all of us wanted to have as partners when we were building our own firms on a national basis. Everyone on our team has built national deca-billion-dollar RIAs, some of us a couple times, and found frustration in the way the money came in. Always really smart people, very good financial folks, but really no knowledge or deep ability to help us. And most of us had never run businesses as big as the ones we had and would love to have had some guidance and help along the way, along major key areas. So I think our collective thought was there's a need in the marketplace for firms that do two things. Number one, provide expertise and knowledge and help to carry the weight. And number two, provide capital in a minority context so that the majority of the equity remains with the folks who are doing the work. And that combination is very hard to find.
So you briefly mentioned the word brand, which is what we're here to talk about today. And I remember the very first time you and I spoke about me potentially joining Rise, you kept mentioning this term Lighthouse brand. And at the time, I didn't know exactly what it meant, but I was immediately intrigued. And I think we find that as we talk to firms about creating the next generation of Lighthouse brands in wealth management. But before we get into that term Lighthouse brand, let's just start with branding 101. We'll go into what it takes to build a brand, but let's start with, why does it even matter?
Well, I'll tell you why right now. The industry has evolved a lot. You know, we were in the early 90s, it was really a disruptive industry. There were no national firms offering financial planning. The broker-dealers were doing investments only. The small independent firms were all around trying to compete with them, initially by just offering investments at a fraction of the price of the large wirehouses in an open architecture way. That's how they survived in the 90s. And then in the 2000s, all of these independent firms started to offer services that large firms didn't. And that included things like tax planning and, most importantly, financial planning, which is what consumers wanted. And then what's happened now, fast forward to the 2020s, and what do we have? All of the firms in wealth management, from the broker-dealers to the banks to the independent firms, everybody offers financial planning because that is the service clients really, really want. And we know it increases retention and increases client satisfaction. But the challenge is it's now a very cluttered marketplace, and you have really a completely different marketplace for the independent firm. You can't compete now on service offerings. You can't compete on pricing because everyone's kind of delivering a 80 basis points to 1% financial planning and investment fee. Everyone's delivering ETFs and individualized indexing and all the services. And so how do you compete? Well, in a cluttered marketplace where it's all about market share, it's about brand. And you'll see that in the computer business. Why did Apple win? Brand. In the clothing universe, why did Lululemon succeed? Brand. Why is Aloe beating Lululemon right now? Brand. And what does brand mean? A brand is nothing more than a promise made, consistently delivered. And the reason it matters is basically you're shortening the trust cycle. If you know what you're getting, you know exactly what you're receiving, you can build a reputation for it, and it allows you to get clients in a much shorter time frame. And of course, most of the advisory firms don't have the money or the understanding about marketing and brand. And it's something I've obsessed about for decades. It was really the secret to United Capital is we built one of the first really strong brands that people knew what we stood for. We used behavioral economics to differentiate. And there's some very key levers you have to do to build a brand, which we can talk about in a sec. But I want to highlight the most important thing about having a brand. It is how you attract great people. It is how you attract great clients. It is how you keep people driven on a mission. And it should be the thing that aligns and unifies everybody if you're going to be successful and grow exponentially.
Thanks. That makes a whole lot of sense. And I thought now we would get into that next layer of the key elements of a great brand. I know recently you wrote an article and you wrote about the 4 Ps. Can you walk through those for us?
Sure. Well, the first P is promise. And by what I mean by promise is, why do you exist? What is the promise you're making to the marketplace? I would say first and foremost, every RI should ask the question, what are we uniquely capable of solving and to which market? What is the promise we're making to the marketplace? As I mentioned, at Rise, our promise is that we're going to help you build the next great Lighthouse brand. For us, that means $1 billion brand. How do you build a firm worth $1 billion? So that's the first, like, what is your promise? In the RIA space at United Capital, we improve lives by bringing truth, understanding, and discipline to the financial choices people make every day. That's a brand promise. What is Apple's promise? We're going to build products that are beautiful and easy to use. Even if you don't know what their promise is, you know by using the product what you're getting. You know with Ritz-Carlton, we are ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? You know exactly how they're going to act. So your brand promise, what is it you're doing and for who? Why do you exist? What are you uniquely able to solve that is true and short enough that everyone remembers it is really hard. And I think what you'll find if you go to the marketplace today, you Google wealth management in your neighborhood, there'll be thousands of choices, all sounding exactly the same.
They all say
Nobody
peace
being
of mind.
differentiated. Yeah, it's just a sea of
Everything is
sameness,
peace
right?
of mind.
Peace of mind,
Yes.
peace of mind, peace of mind. And candidly, a turn of phrase really matters. The reason we created Lighthouse is it's different. People don't know what it means, but they think they know what it means, and it's fairly accurately representing. We want you to build something that attracts people. And so you start with a promise that is aspirational, that is true, and you do that by first asking your clients and your advisors, who are we? What are we uniquely able to do that makes us special? And then put it into words, ideally less than 8 words, certainly less than 10, that is bite-sized and easy to remember. And again, I think you can do this multi-layered. Number one, like, I'm going to use United Capital example, we improve lives, 3 words. And then if you want more, we do that by bringing truth, understanding, and discipline to people's choices. You only need to remember those are 3 other words. There were other words, but that's it. Now, again, build a brand promise that's true, that reflects reality, and that's exciting. And once people want to be there. So that's the first. The second is product. And by product, I mean in the service business, how do you live up to that promise? Do you have a platform that supports that idea? Does your platform have the services and solutions? Is it delivered in a way that delights clients and aligns to what you're saying? When you go to a Ritz-Carlton, you're going to have a lovely bed. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to smell nice. That there's going to be a nice gym, a beautiful bar, a nice restaurant. When you go to Apple, you know exactly what you're going to get. When you walk into a Tesla storefront, when they first opened those storefronts, they looked exactly a reflection in reality of what the car was. And the car reflects a simple, utilitarian, really well-designed technology, minimalistic design element. You see it with their trucks. Everything is designed. Every product and platform supports this concept of who they are and the promise they've made. Third, of course, is the people. When you go to Schwab and Fidelity, as an example, they have different kind of people. I was at Goldman Sachs as a partner for 4 or 5 years. Guess what? There was a very specific Goldman-like kind of person in the firm. Whatever your opinions were, they were the smartest, believe it or not, authentic and down-to-earth human beings. They were humble, even though incredibly successful. And the reality is they always wanted to learn and grow. I knew if somebody was Goldman caliber or not the minute I met them. It was true at United Capital. It should be true at your firm. You know whether they are your kind of people. And that means that they deliver on the promise that you've made to your clients and to each other as colleagues. And then for me, the fourth, just as exciting, is passion. If you've done the first three right, people will be excited because they belong to something big. They're excited to deliver on the promise. They have a platform that supports them. They have people around them that believe in the mission, and that creates buzz. And that creates buzz from your clients who say, you've got to go visit my advisor because this is why. And they can repeat the promise and they can show the client, their friends, what it means to be your client because there's examples of it. And then, of course, there's the people that they'll say, my gosh, you should meet these people. That combination of things is where the magic resides. And if you have the passion, then that's the difference between a lighthouse and a regular brand. Because you do have a brand, by the way. Just like a culture, it exists right now in your business. And the reality is, if all of your clients have a different impression of your brand, which is true for many firms today, then guess what? You have a very weak brand position. But if everybody can coalesce and be excited about what you're doing, then that is a lighthouse brand.
That's the magic. I think of it as the beacon.
Yeah.
So I think as leaders in the industry hear you talk about this, they get excited. But I found, and I'm assuming you have too, many still hesitate to take that leap to go forward and really build a lighthouse brand. What do you think holds them back?
Inertia. Look, there's something I like to call the illusion of success. And what is the illusion of success? That you think you've gotten to your level of success because of all the things you've done. And that is true. However, it's also true you're not twice as successful because of the things that you've done. And the difference that I saw whenever I visit these really interesting firms like Netflix or Amazon and speak to their leadership or Google, they're not asking the question, what did we do to get here? They're asking a different question. What's holding us back from being twice or three times as successful? While maintaining our promise, while maintaining our big visions and the people and the platform, what are we doing to hold us back? And it's typically the person at the top. They have value retained, and the enemy of growth is value. When you need to protect what you have, you don't imagine what you can be. And so I would start by saying, first of all, as an advisor, as a leader, what's the last new thing you did?
Anything else you would recommend if they wanted to start exploring this creation of a lighthouse brand? What else can they do to get started?
Well, I'd say 3 steps right away. Number one, do a client and employee survey. Find the words that they would use to describe what it means to work with you and what it is that they think they do. Ask your own employees, what is it we're doing for our clients that no one else can do? And see if they even have thoughts on it. Then go to your clients for sure and ask them what they appreciate about you, what skill sets you uniquely have that makes them stay with you, other than they know you. And then try to package it into a formula that's just a few words that you can believe in that are true, not fancy words that make you excited, but fancy words that are true. So that would be the second step. And the third, package it and put it in a message and ensure then look at your services and your offerings in that context and say, is this true? And if it is true, what can we do to further solidify our position? I think the thing we bring that's very helpful for our partner firms is a fresh perspective and an idea of how to tell a story. Because at the end of the day, a great brand is a story that is true and that is consistently delivered. And by the way, the last thing I'd say, and then we can wrap this up, it's really important that it's consistently delivered. McDonald's doesn't make the world's best burger. Maybe they make the best fries. But what you do know is I know exactly what I'm getting every time I go anywhere in the world, even if there are new products in Hong Kong than they are in Spain and Madrid or than they are in Los Angeles. I do know exactly what I'm getting. Now, the difference between a McDonald's and an In-N-Out, which I think is the best fast food burger, but I'm on the West Coast, The difference is the passion. Like I would suggest that McDonald's is a nice brand, but In-N-Out is a passionate brand. It's a Lighthouse brand. They can open one anywhere, and there will be a line of cars anytime you go, at any time of the day or night, looking to get one of their burgers. And that's the difference.
Great. Excellent. So we covered a lot about branding today, Joe.
We did. And we're going to be doing topics like this on an ongoing basis. As you know, I write articles for CityWire. You can follow me on LinkedIn. And we will be doing, hopefully, useful tips that help the independent advisor who we are passionately, deeply entrenched in helping survive and thrive in this environment. And hopefully you can use some of this to help yourself succeed and be more successful. So we're just thrilled to be doing this. And it's great for me to be back on this side of the fence again.
Yes, really fun. And thank you for those of you watching. Hopefully you found this discussion helpful. So please subscribe, like, and share it with your colleagues. And let us know in the comments if you have other topics you would like us to explore in the future. We'll see you next time.
You are listening to Rise Up with Rise Growth Partners. If we helped you to rise up today, please subscribe to the show so you don't miss future episodes. Leave us a review to tell us what you loved, what topics you'd like to hear, and please share it with others in the industry. After all, we're here to rise up together.